So let me tell you about the time I broke into a vampire mansion in my D&D game, Eye of the Storm. And if you're thinking that this is a bad idea, then trust me, the event is even worse than what you can imagine. We had a good reason to sneak in there though. You see, while adventuring, we found an underground tunnel system, and to make a long story short, just know that it's important to our journey. But with its winding paths and maze-like structure, we needed a map to navigate. And wouldn't you know, party member Rekorm had family connections whom he could get such a map from, recognizing the underground as a popular road used by thieves. Now if you're wondering why his family would know about anything relating to thievery, then that's because said family is a mafia syndicate kind of family. And don't worry, you're not missing out on anything, because the rest of the party just learned about that fact too. The mafia part was the least of our concerns at the time anyway, because the only family member that Rackham still knew to get said map from was Vladimir, a powerful vampire who hated his guts. What if you offered him a deal? What if you bribed him? What if you tried mending the relationship? We spitballed some ideas, and although they weren't bad ideas, the discussions were going nowhere as Rackham confirmed that talking wouldn't get us anywhere. So, being the assigned group dad and voice of reason, I couldn't stand the arguments any longer and suggested the only reasonable solution. What if we just stole the map? And to my GM's horror, everyone agreed. Knowing that this is a dangerous heist as we're, level 4, and this is a vampire who could zap us with one spell, we started planning. The mansion itself was Despicable Me style, the ominous black building wedged between pristine family homes in the high society district. We figured if we walked up the front door as if we belonged, no one would get suspicious as we rigged it. So the plan was as follows. Our artificer Iku would cast alarm on the front door, choosing for the spell to give her a mental ping whenever anyone opens the door, while Rackham's familiar stayed behind to watch. Once the alarm rang, the familiar would be able to confirm if Vladimir really left, then we were free to break in and search the house for the map. Now that was the easy part, because once inside, we had no idea where to start and how long we had before Vladimir returned. And this place is huge, mind you, it was a mansion after all. And, we could have figured as much, but someone who lived in a mansion probably also lives with servants. "Sir, have you forgotten something?" We heard shouting from a room next door, and thus we immediately scampered up the stairs and watched the maid come out. So not only did we have to find a map in this place before the homeowner returned, we had to do it while hiding from his maid. To make the search a little easier, we split into two groups and started searching the upper floor while the lower floor was, occupied, shall we say. Group Rackham and Iku found Vladimir's sleeping chambers behind a slightly open door. There, perched on its own little throne, we found his dog, I guess. A furry little thing that jumped upon seeing the two. I genuinely don't know what this little spawn of hell was, but we knew if we didn't do anything, it would bark. So, in an attempt to distract the little monster, Rackham sent in his familiar and promptly sacrificed it. Oops. Meanwhile, Group Mori and Professor Quill managed to stumble into Vladimir's study room. Jackpot! Searching the place, we found a safe underneath an alchemy table. While this looked promising, we also faced a multitude of problems with this. For one, the person who knew how to lockpick wasn't with us, so that wasn't an option. The safe was also quite big and bolted to the floor. While Mori was getting ready to tear the safe out of the floor, I hastily searched my spellbook for something to make the job easier. And I did come up with something. Casting the spell Reduce on the safe, I shrunk it down to half its size, practically pulling itself from the floorboards. A good yank later, and we were able to simply carry the safe out. Not knowing where Rackham was and being on an arbitrary timer, we panicked and thought the best course of action for us was to get out of here as quickly as possible and just take the safe with us. Thus, instead of using the front door again and risk running into the maid, we just, hoisted the safe out of the window so we could pick it up from outside where the maid wouldn't see and bring it to our caravan. And just as the safe hit the ground, the door to the study slammed open and the group reassembled, luckily. However, not wanting to wait for us to bring the safe somewhere more secure, Rackham just leapt out of the window and started cracking the safe. Looking out the window in anticipation, we all knew this couldn't be a good idea. And just as we finished that thought, click, the safe sprung open. And then exploded. Once the smoke settled, a shocked Rackham was staring right into the face of a shocked maid, whom he quickly charmed and in his panic told that He's the safe inspector that was scheduled to come. As he was let in for a conversation, this was our cue to do something. We didn't want to leave empty handed, and there had to be a clue about the map or family somewhere still in one piece. And looking around the study, I did detect some conspicuous magic behind one of the bookshelves. Although we didn't find a hidden door, the alarm spell that was cast at the spot made me believe there was something behind the shelf. And although Vladimir protected his secret entrance with a spell, he forgot to protect his secret little room from brute force. The layout indicated that the room was connected to the staircase leading up into the attic, and at this point, Vladimir would know we were here one way or another. So to hells with subtlety. Burning a hole into the wall, we found his magic study room, filled with magic trinkets and gadgets, books older than all of us combined, scrolls and magic items. It was fascinating. And of course, we took everything. Then we fled the scene as quickly as we could, of course, with our tiefling, and left the city, riding off into the sunset on our bison. We maybe didn't find the map we were looking for, or maybe we did in the form of a pile of ashes, but we got a ton of stolen magical goods and became closer as friends. And isn't that what D&D is all about anyway?